welcome to another episode of That's So Bizarre, where I share stories of ordinary people who experience the weird, the wacky, and the wonderful. I'm your host, author, hippie gypsy pirate, Becky Porchot. Welcome. All right, well, for today's story, we have a really good one from Brooklyn, New York. This comes from a friend of mine who is since retired, but he was a police officer in Brooklyn. He's got a lot of good stories. This one just blows them all the other ones away, though. So Kevin and his partner were on the beat that night, and they were at the edge of their precinct, where they usually weren't. Usually they didn't go that far to the edge, but today they were because they had to do a couple of things. So they're driving along, and they notice smoke billowing out of this apartment building, and they notice a bunch of people pouring out of the building and all standing on the curb. So, of course, Kevin and his partner pull over and get out and start, questioning people. They say, okay, have you called the fire department? They said, yeah, we just did. All right. Is there anybody else in the building? And they said, no, that's it. This is it. This is all of us right here. And so Kevin said, okay. And he stood and kind of moved everybody aside to make sure they weren't in harm's way. And he stood there, and as he's looking at the fire, he heard a voice. And it sounded like it was coming from behind him. The voice said, he's still inside. He's so afraid. So, of course, Kevin, being a rational man, turned around. Nobody was there. He heard the voice again. It said, can't you feel him? He's afraid. He needs you. Again, he looked back, and no one was there. Now, Kevin, in his letter to me, said that he could actually feel the fear. He could feel fear emanating from the building. And he heard the voice one more time. It said, help him. He is waiting for you. Well, Kevin, being a police officer and being a person whose job it is to protect people, decided that there was only one thing to do. He was going to go into that building. He wasn't going to wait for the fire department to come. So he took his walkie-talkie, his radio, and he went into that building by himself. Now it was, there was smoke everywhere and flames, and he could barely see, but he knew exactly where he was supposed to go, because he felt like the fear was calling him, and he just followed that fear through the building until he reached a single apartment building, and he opened the door, and sure enough, there was an old man sitting on the couch in a prayer position. The man looks up at him and says, you're here, almost like he was expecting him. Kevin saved that man's life that day. And he doesn't know what happened there. He said, could it be angels? Could it be the voice of God? Could it be some spirits? He doesn't know. He doesn't really ask. But all he does know is that he has a really good story, and it's a reminder to him and a reminder to all of us that there's something out there protecting us. Something is looking out for us. So, what did you think of this story? Anybody else have experiences like that? Comment below and tell me what you've experienced, and share them with everybody. And be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can get more interesting, exciting stories. Thank you very much for listening. I hope to see you again soon. And remember, don't stop believing.